Okay, I didn't realize what it was gonna. What is that? A new COVID emergency in Australia?
It's an emergency, isn't it?
Is that the whole Djokovic family coming to like gun down?
Oh, wasn't that a
everybody
saga?
at the airport?
It's just unbelievable. Here we are with so much.
Okay, well, look at
drama.
us. So it's Monique with your friend Bon Jovial, whom I know you guys haven't heard from in a little while, but you know, as you must know, classic Bon Jovial, if he's not in charge of production, he doesn't want to be on the show. So
do it live.
So he texted me like first thing this morning saying, "Oh my God, did you see the Tucker Carlson thing about Howard yesterday?" And I'm like, I saw that somebody made a post about it, but I did not look at it. I haven't seen it. And I figured, you know, maybe you do an emergency podcast on it. He's like, no, we really have to do an emergency podcast on it. Let's just do this. And I'm like, okay, so let's do it. So apologies in advance to any of my other Gunk co-hosts that are not on the show tonight. But this was just one of those things that, you know, we just decided to do. What was that?
Or blah, blah, blah.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not sure.
So it's so funny. Somebody who lives on my road here listens to our show, and the last show that you were on, apparently it was that show. And she was like, "What's all that door closing and knocking door and creaking door? Like, I don't even understand any of that." And I'm like, "Oh, you're so cute. You actually like listen to the show because you know me, but you really have no idea what we're talking about." She's like, "No, I have no idea." She's like, "I listen because sometimes I miss you and I like your laugh. So I just listen to hear you laugh about stuff, but I really have no idea. I don't even listen to Howard Stern." Yeah, that.
I don't think there's anyone there. I think
There's nobody
that was
there
just
today?
creaks.
Is it not Jimmy Dore?
So that's no. Well,
Is it not Jimmy Dore at the door?
He might join and enjoy what we're going to say. But,
Well, I don't even know who he is, but I just want you all to know that StreamYard has some new background things now. So now I have this like cool kind of blur background, which looks like profile mode in iPhone, and I'm kind of digging it. So let me know if you like it or not, because, you know, you can still see my Pac-Man shit in the background, and I took away the scary monster dummy that was here with me on Wednesday. Okay, so what are we talking about tonight? We're talking about Tucker Carlson having this guy named Jimmy Dore on his show last night. And it all leads back to the show I guess we did on maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, where I played the clip of him having that guy on who was just some sort of, you know, phony phone caller who called in about that he runs like these COVID things, and then Howard went into a tirade about how he hopes everybody, you know, who has COVID doesn't get to go to the hospital and just dies. And the feeling is that he 1000% knows that this is like the hot topic button to push. Thank you, Rubber Biscuit. Hold on, donating to my Stern hate porn. And he knows that this is the one thing that's going to get him attention. So that's why this show is called, you know, Thirsty Howard Stern, because he really loves his attention, whether it's good or bad, and whether it's coming from Tucker, who clearly was part of the Stern fanboy fan base for forever. Do you know that about him, Bon?
I gather it from what he says at the start. He says some nice things. He does the old, before he switches it up, we'll give some compliments before we bash his head in. So I guarantee, yeah, I assumed he used to be a fan. Yeah, he's very complimentary.
He used to be on Bubba's show a lot. And you know, Bubba and
that's
Tucker would
a
call
weird
in.
Combination. Just
Totally
I've never heard him
combination.
speak before, but listening to him when I
Like,
listen
why
to
would
the
they
clip,
even know each other?
he sounds really straight edge, and Bubba is not.
Yeah, And okay, yeah, see, David saying Tucker got in trouble a few years ago for comments he made on Bubba's show. Right. So he came off very misogynistic that, women should just be, look pretty and not be heard and, stupid shit like that. Stupid shit that guys say when they're on a guy show talking about guy stuff. And he got in trouble for that. I was told, however, that he lives, I don't know, not more than like 20 minutes away from me where I am in Florida. So that'd be interesting to kind of take a little road trip down there and see where Mr. Carlson lives. I did talk to a couple of people who know him before we got on air tonight, both who work at Fox News and who work on the Stern show, who said that, Tucker's basically who you would think he is. He's just like this guy who plays the role of the conservative who's there for, all the people. But meanwhile, as we all know, he is the heir to the Swanson TV dinner fortune. He has a shit ton of money. His family has a shit ton of money. And he plays the good role like all people who are commentators and not real news people do. So I think that the war is now on Howard. And there was an article yesterday prior to the Tucker Carlson thing that I'm going to read to you guys really quickly. It says COVID hysteria turned Howard Stern into exactly the person he spent decades mocking. Stern has advocated for the coronavirus vaccine to be mandatory nationwide. Outkick reporter Bobby Burack tore into radio icon Howard Stern on Wednesday for demonizing unvaccinated Americans and allowing COVID hysteria to turn him into exactly the person he spent decades mocking. Thank you, Sinluhu. I'll come to you right one quick second. Oh, well, Bon, you can click her up on there. You're co-host on this. So many people turn to Howard Stern as just sort of this voice of... Are you playing that background music now, you asshole?
I told you, it's perfect.
StreamYard has background music now that we can play in the back. I can't wait till we can download our own. Stop it. Borak, who recently penned a column on the topic, said Wednesday on the Brian Kilmeade show, he's always been that guy that challenges the man. Now he's become such a shill for big government and big pharma. And people have been asking over the past 2 years, what happened to Howard Stern? Stern has advocated for coronavirus vaccine to be mandatory and has repeatedly referred to those who chose to forego the jab as imbeciles and nut jobs. I want my freedom to live, Stern said in a September episode. I want to get out of the house. I want to go next door and play chess. I want to go take some pictures. The shock jock also suggested on air that doctors and nurses should refuse to treat those who have not taken the coronavirus vaccine. I'm really of mind to say, look, if you don't get vaccinated and you get COVID, you don't get to go to a hospital. You had the cure and you wouldn't take it. The radio host appeared to double down this month, going off in an on-air, profanity-laden tirade over tennis champ Novak Djokovic position on the vaccine. Djokovic has said on multiple occasions that vaccination is a private and personal decision, that mandates should not be in place. That fucknut Djokovic, that joker. I call him the Joker, Stern 67 said. What a effing asshole.
Well, I like Australia.
The first I've heard, yeah, you don't even know where Australia is. I swear if he had to point to it on a map, he wouldn't know where it was.
I need to groove.
The first I heard of this guy is that he doesn't want to get the vaccine. He's running around. They should throw him right the F out of tennis. The comedian asserted. That's it. Goodbye. Bergtold Kolvik said COVID hysteria ruined Stern, calling him a shell of what he used to be. I don't think COVID necessarily ruined Howard Stern. It was COVID hysteria that did this to him. I think the best way to put it is if you believed everything that the CDC, New York Times, NPR, obviously not going to be in a healthy state of mind. Howard Stern has become exactly the person who spent decades mocking. Burke added. It's really unbelievable to see the evolution of his career go so far south, because right now he's a shell of what he used to be. So that predated Tucker having that dude Jimmy Dore on, and I think that the word has probably come down. Okay, so the way it works at Fox, which is what I was told today, is that in order for something like that to happen on the Tucker Carlson show, it basically goes right up the chain, like from the associate producer to the producer to the guy who's managing the show to everybody, before it gets the okay to say, all right, is this what we really want to do tonight? We want to rip Howard Stern a new asshole. And somebody at the very tippy top says yes. And that's how this came to be. So this is definitely according to people in the know, and that this is the way Fox News basically runs the Tucker Carlson show.
Okay, here we go.
Stern, by any measure, is one of the great radio hosts of all time. He makes a huge amount of money for doing what he does, but there's a reason for it. He was incredibly brave and creative. Vulgar, yes, but truly talented, but above all, courageous. Stern defended free speech. He was fired for it repeatedly. He used his...
Okay, wrong. So let's just go from point number 1. He did not defend free speech. And as Howard has said multiple times, he only defends free speech when it comes to him and his free speech. And as we have said on a podcast multiple times, the companies that he worked for knew that he was going to get sanctioned by the FCC. Like, this was part of the deal. Part of the deal was, I'm going to say things that are outrageous, the FCC is going to come after me, and we're going to have to pay fines. So get used to it. That's what this show is going to be. And everybody agreed to it because the publicity from him being sanctioned by the FCC far outweighed monetarily what they would have to pay in commercials and people doing ads and things like that for them. So it was worth it for them to do it. Howard never once paid out of his own pocket for any of these things that happened with the FCC, because FCC sanctions come down directly to the person who is producing the show, not the talent. Period.
Well, that's interesting. Wow, he can just get away with it and blame Gary or someone back in the old
anybody.
days. Yeah.
Blame anybody you want to, but it doesn't matter, because what the FCC defines as indecent is, I can even imagine that he said on, September 15th, I'm going to go after it. I'm going to do something that's going to be a little bit on the more outraged. I can almost see it as being a completely manipulated thing that he did in order for them to understand that the FCC was going to come down on them, fine them, and he would get a shit ton of publicity for it and move on. So Tucker is wrong on this, I think. Know that Tucker also was a fervent Howard Stern listener. Obviously, as you know, also a Bubba guy. Arm is trolling. And he was, Team Howard for a really long time. So that's why I think this whole thing also with Tucker is a little bit of a setup, especially pulling in somebody like Jimmy Dore to make the commentary about him. So, okay, I'm going to move on a little bit.
Platform to fight government censorship, to give the finger to the man. There was a lot that was impressive about Howard Stern, for sure, and that bravely allowed him to be creative, but not anymore. Maybe it was the coronavirus that broke him, maybe it was just hormonal changes with middle age. He's now a coward, and his broadcast is about cowardice, amplifying his fears about corona over the air and more precisely attacking anybody else who's decided to live life as a free person.
By the way, okay, let's also mention that every single human being at Fox is vaccinated, and most of them are triple vaxxed. So it's always amazing to me. I have a really good friend who was a producer at Fox, and not everything you see is the reality. They want to play into a narrative, and that's their right to do. But there's a mandate at Fox News, at the Fox station, which literally is right across the street from Sirius, which is amazing enough, where you can't even go into the building unless you're vaxxed. So they can talk about it all they want, but it's just a silly thing to, it's a silly hill to die on. But I get it, and I get that's what Tucker is. So he then played a little bit of what Howard Stern said, which is what we had played on the Wednesday show when we thought a fake caller was calling in to talk about COVID. So, okay.
We're going to stop putting up with the idiots in this country and just say it's mandatory to get vaccinated. Them, their freedom. I want my freedom to live. I want to get out of the house already. I want to go next door and play chess. I want to go take some pictures. This is bullshit.
So that was September 7th of last year. And this is the same man who tells us that he goes out for a 5-mile walk with his wife every single day. Can't imagine that that's not enough time for him to bring his camera with him, take some pictures, do whatever it is that he does. I feel like Howard is a complete hypochondriac. And even just learning that for his birthday, he was actually tortured about having spaghetti for his birthday because, according to him, quote, the doctors told him he's not allowed to eat spaghetti, which makes no sense whatsoever.
This is a guy who's had every vax available, and he's still hiding in his basement because the vaccine works so well that he can't go out. Right. So when other people disagree, when Aaron Rodgers, for example, the athlete, decided to make his own medical decisions about the vaccine, Howard Stern was enraged. He said Rodgers should be kicked out of the NFL. Socializing is now off limits to Howard Stern. He scolded Oprah because she had the audacity to host, brace yourselves, a Christmas party.
And I'm really amazed by Oprah. I really am. I mean, on her Instagram, she likes to take you into her house where every night of Christmas is a big party, like a celebration, and she flies in a different chef. And it's getting very confusing to me. I see what's going on with COVID. Everyone's got it. Everyone's sick. People have 104 fever. I don't want to have 104 fever. I don't want to get sick. So I'm hiding. But everyone else is out running around. I see she's having dinner parties.
So funny to me. I mean, this is the same man who, even in the best of circumstances, on the best years, in his best days, doesn't go out. Didn't go to Italy with Jimmy Kimmel, if you recall.
Yes.
Doesn't go
That's
anywhere.
crazy.
Doesn't use his money for fun, other than buying gigantic friggin' houses that I can't possibly imagine two people living in. So
16,000 square feet, Monique.
So, well, that's one house. That's just
In
one
case you've never heard that on this show before.
I've never been in a
It's
house
been
that's
mentioned.
16,000 square feet.
That groove.
So the guy was always a narcissist. Obviously, the show is about himself. But again, he had a spirit. He had bravery. But he's declined into this kind of quivering mass of neuroses and hatred. Hatred that has so overtaken him that he's decided that anyone who doesn't follow his commands should just go die. Listen.
If it was up to me, anyone unvaccinated would not be admitted to a hospital. At this point, they've been given plenty of opportunity to get the vaccine. They don't trust our government. They think that there's some conspiracy to turn them into a magnet or something like this. Now, if you don't get it, in my America, all hospitals would be closed to you. You're going to go home and die.
So that's a real dick thing to say. I have a girlfriend
It's just too harsh.
whose husband, whom she adores, went on a fishing trip to Alaska, and I think he had only had like let's say the Johnson & Johnson vax. No, I think actually he wasn't vaxxed. And so they live in Tennessee, and he went to Vanderbilt Hospital, which is a private hospital. And he said, I'm having symptoms. I think I have COVID. And they said to him, are you vaccinated? And he said, no. And they turned him away. They're like, I'm sorry, we can't help you. And so what people don't realize is that private hospitals are allowed to turn you away because they are not dictated by the government or as a public hospital. Only the public hospitals are the ones that have to take you in when you're sick. And they choose, basically, whether or not they want you in their facility or not. So he wound up having to go to a public hospital where he had to wait forever to be admitted, and got COVID and was in the hospital for like 3 weeks, lived through it, still did not get the vaccine and got COVID again. And now he's legit on his deathbed. Affects some people more than others. I get that. I totally understand that. And shit just happens. I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. All right, but we're going to move on a little bit. Here you go. G Canada, I just want to let you know for a really quick second that I did appreciate your commentary to me in the politics thread today, and I'm more than happy to have a stimulating conversation with you about Canadian politics versus American politics. Seriously.
So if you don't trust the government, you don't get health care and you should die. So the bigger question is, how did this brave, creative guy become a tool, a craven tool of the powerful wishing death on his own listeners? There's something sad about this, really sad. Jimmy Dore has watched it happen. He's the host of the Jimmy Dore Show, and we're happy to have him come on tonight. So Jimmy, I'm not even attacking.
Okay, Jimmy Dore. So I am sad to not have John on the show tonight because apparently he knows who Jimmy Dore is. I do not. He used to be a Democrat. He turned into like a Bernie bro, and a lot of Bernie bros don't really have an allegiance towards being Democrat or Republican. He's definitely an independent, and they have their own framework and frame of mind as to how they feel. And so he started out as like a regular comedian, and then decided to go the political route a couple of years ago, and I think that's done very well for him. There is one thing I was reading about him that I completely agree with, shockingly enough, where he said, hold on, I'm going to read it to you guys right now. Basically, he said if conservatives are in office, it's great for comedy because Democrats are so boring, which is true. In September of 2017, Dore said, if you don't think we need a third party, you're not paying attention. And I agree with that completely. He said that the United States is an oligarchy dominated by two corporate parties that are unaccountable to the general population. He emphasized that Joe Biden and the Democratic Party use identity politics to placate their political base so as to avoid having to implant populist progressive policies like raising minimum wage, forgiving student debt, or establishing single-payer health care. Totally agree with him. I totally agree. I totally agree that both parties suck. I totally agree that we should have term limits for all politicians. I don't agree with having an 87-year-old still sitting in some fucking office in Washington, D.C., who does not speak for me, but just has had the job for so friggin' long that they don't even know, what's going on in the real world. They're kind of like Howard in Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. They probably have no idea how much a box of cereal costs, or how much milk is, or what it costs to feed or pay for a child and stuff like that. So, whatever. He does think of himself as an avid atheist, which is interesting. A lot of comedians do. I just found out Ricky Gervais is the same way. And apparently there was a sexual harassment allegation against him when he was on the Young Turks channel for a long time. And there was so he said some, sexually inappropriate comments, probably to some Gen Zer who take everything offensively. So I don't know anything about Jimmy Dore. And I don't know what he's going to be saying here either. Dorian Morgan says that Dore is kissing some weird asses these days, though. No. Okay. Two Master says Jimmy Dore is so out there he thinks the Green Party is a CIA trap. Yeah, I'm sure he has some really crazy theories, but again, like I've said in a couple of podcasts before, Howard Stern says things so that the media will respond to him. And he says things like, people with COVID shouldn't be able to go into hospitals and die because he wants the media to repeat that. Because he knows that Maggie Haberman at the New York Times would never say that in an editorial as if it's coming from her. But if you say these kind of things as if it's coming from a Howard Stern, it's okay, because it's Howard saying it, even though it might be something that you feel or that you think. It's okay because it's coming from Howard and it's not coming from you. And that's why it's okay to do these things. And he understands now that he's getting a lot of play with being Mr., pro-vax and COVID, people should die and all that shit.
I'm not anti-Republican.
So he runs with it. Let's hear it. All right, Mike David says, text John and get him on the show, political expert. Okay, it's a little too late for that. John's already, doing whatever John does at night. All right, here we go.
Well, 6
Howard Stern,
cans
whom I
deep,
respect
I
for
think
his
it
talents,
is.
which are real. But what is this that we're seeing?
I don't know. Is there anything creepier than a guy who looks like a hippie but talks like a Fed? Not for my money. But please,
That's good.
See, what now? That is such a great start. I mean, I've never...
Acts like a hippie but talks like a Fed.
Wow.
can't we all... Howard Stern, doesn't anybody care about Howard Stern anymore? He's just a poor guy who wants to go outside and feel the breeze in his wig. That's all he wants to feel.
Now, it's...
Look at the pictures, too.
Give me your... You ever heard anybody... It's just... It's unbelievable. This guy, look at Tucker. It's like pure bliss.
Oh, Tucker loves this shit. You know that. But yes, I agree, Sin. Finally, somebody's challenging Howard. But what's happening is that I feel like all of this stuff is so manufactured. Like, they knew that they could get this guy on and he could be the person who rips Howard. Not Tucker, but Jimmy Dore. It's all the same to me. It's just such a crazy way. Okay, I need to hear some more of this. Okay, hang on, sorry.
Go for it.
So what is weird to me is now he went from being a bad boy to becoming Hillary Clinton's buddy. How do you do that? He's about as dangerous as a pair of plastic scissors. So what happened is the establishment gave him $400 million, and now he's the establishment. And so now instead of standing up to the oligarchy and standing up to the government and standing up to authoritarianism, now he's preaching it. And he's like a bully to get you to do things the government wants you to do. It's the opposite of freedom. It's the opposite of what comedy is supposed to be. You're supposed to use comedy to undermine the status quo and poke holes in it and make fun of it. He's now using his platform to prop up the status quo, authoritarianism. And by the way, he's doing exactly what the oligarchy wants him to do, which is blame your neighbor. Right? He's not going to blame. Why are the hospitals so clogged? By the way, you don't want the hospital to get clogged because the next time he needs another chin liposuction, he won't be able to get in. But the point is, we have been cutting hospital beds in New York State alone.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Magic. Like, this is the stuff that dreams are made of. To hear, I'm so happy.
Liposuction dead. That is so fucking funny. The funny thing is, I don't think he got a chin liposuction. I think he got his Adam's apple shaved down a little bit. I think Jimmy's a little wrong on that one. I mean, but that's us. We're conspiracy theorists to the 10th degree. But okay, Jimmy.
He's had work done. We know that. We know that.
Yeah,
for
no
sure.
kidding. But holy shit, to hear it on air on Fox News on Tucker is just delicious. All right, here we go.
They cut 30,000 hospital beds in the last 20 years. So we went from 1.5 million hospital beds down to 925,000 hospital beds since 1975. You know why there aren't enough ICU beds? Because it's not profitable to the private equity firms that administer our hospital emergency rooms now. People don't know this. In 2018, I just covered it on my show, there was a huge outbreak of the flu, and guess what? Every hospital in every state was overrun, and they were treating people in tents. for the flu. So this idea that the COVID patient is the person you should be angry at, instead of the oligarchs who have been getting rid of hospital beds and ICU beds because they're not profitable, of course that's what Howard Stern does now, because he is the status quo. There's no point to him anymore. He turned in, and so instead, if you live long enough, you as a hero, you're going to, I guess, turn into Don Imus, because that is what happened to...
That's incredible. He's hitting. Does he listen to this show?
Howard Stern, he's just a poor guy who wants to go outside and feel the breeze in his wig. That's all he wants to feel.
I've been, I'm hitting. I've got drops.
He's now a coward.
Did I misfeel the breeze in his wig? Oh my God, I looked today to see if I could find like anything that said like Jimmy or Dore or something in like my search thing in the admin to see if he was a member of that thing. Just to see if he was somebody, because there's no way. The wig thing is so us. Like the wig thing is so purely and deliciously us.
Of course.
He's about as dangerous as a pair of plastic scissors.
See, I'm set for life with this guy. I'm loving this.
Go Jimmy Dore!
I need to read something. I just need to see really quickly, because I don't like the usage of the word oligarchy, and I want to just see exactly what it means.
Let's do this.
A small group of people having control of a country, organization, or institution. A country governed by an oligarchy. Yeah. So it's basically control of a small group of people over all political power. I mean, I get it. I get where he's coming from in terms of that being how he feels, but he's definitely a Bernie bro with that kind of like talk. It is kind of delicious. Commander 74. It's actually delicious. Is there more to this that we need to hear?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go on.
To Howard Stern. And it is sad to watch.
I don't even know what to say. Go Jimmy Dore! He looks like a hippie, he talks like a Fed. That was so great. It's great to see you. Thank you for that. It's perfect.
Wow. So he just had this guy on to come on for literally 4 minutes and rip Howard a new a-hole. Is that how that works?
It's absolutely incredible. It's just
so.
And this is gonna be rough.
It is sad to watch.
I don't know what's gonna happen next week, and let's get some thoughts going from the chat about what Howard will do. Because, Mon, give me your thoughts. What is he gonna do? Because he's got I assume he's on. I assume he's not on vacation. So Monday, 7:02 or 3 Once that bloody annoying song ends, do you think he will discuss this?
It's a good question. And I think that he's thinking about it right now. Like, I think he's talking to his people, trying to figure out whether this is... But I think that Howard's at a point where, like he used to say about so many other people, like that any publicity is good publicity. And, if anything... will address him getting more subscribers. He will, keep it kind of like mysterious. He definitely doesn't want people going to Jimmy Dore's podcast, and going there to listen to him, because there's nothing he hates more than mentioning somebody on air and you seeking that person out so that he can, so that person can get more views. Because it's all about him, Ed. So I think he might talk about it, but I think I think he'd rather rip Tucker Carlson a new asshole than and Jimmy Dore. Who even knows who this freaking guy is? What is he? Some 2-bit comedian? He'll belittle him. He'll just say like he's like just basically some old loser that knows nothing. He might even have Marianne from Brooklyn call in to ask about it.
Or
Did
Ralph.
you hear Tucker? Yeah. Did you hear what he said? And that will be the impetus.
Or Ralph, yeah. But he can.
Yeah.
He can. People are saying in the chat that, like what Kilo Sierra Alpha says that there's no-go areas where Howard won't talk about, because he's mentioned can edit that down to those, because he's going to
It's
have
5
a go.
minutes all in. I mean, so this Jimmy Dore got in like Jimmy Dore basically I'm Tucker Carlson and you're Jimmy Dore, or vice versa, and you're like, Jimmy Dore, what do you have to say about Tucker? It's like wig, chin, implants, weak, scissor, bullshit, done.
It is sad to watch.
Yeah, I can hit them all.
Right. He did them all.
He's about as dangerous as a pair of plastic scissors.
And his broadcast is about cowardice.
And feel the breeze in his wig. That's all he wants to feel.
So, he can get JD or whoever to edit out all of the personal insults, and then he can just go for the political stuff. So I think he's going to say, like Tucker said at the start, that Howard is too scared to go outside because Tucker's framing that as that the vaccination isn't effective. So Howard's too scared to go. So Howard can fight that. He can argue that. He'll pick the fight out of each one of those. I think it gets so close because he's, like you were saying many times on this today, he's finally got someone to bite,
Right.
and give him crap, where they have all been agreeing with him because they're lefties. He hasn't had someone on the right attack him, so he might. Is Tucker famous? Like, does everybody watch Tucker? I don't know.
You know what? It's not a news show. I mean, for cable news, he does really well. But he's preaching to a choir. That's basically what it is. I would never turn in just to hear for shits and giggles what Tucker Carlson is talking about, because I don't care about non-news news.
Would a major news broadcaster pick up on what Tucker said and report on it, or that won't happen?
No,
Okay.
that wouldn't happen.
Maybe
I think
that
I think it's a Fox News. It's very Fox News indicative that not only would they have an article saying, Howard Stern basically has jumped the shark, and, look at how he's talking about you people. That's what they're saying. Look at how he's talking about you people. And look at how he is. Okay, I Am Silas says, yep, Mo, that is why I'm hoping to get your take on this. Dore is pretty big in the commie Bernie Bro YouTube sphere. Might bring trouble for Wiggy. But what kind of trouble? Like, what more as a group could we possibly do, especially after he was on a nationally syndicated show like The View, and that Sonny Hostin asks him, you used to say the N-word, you've done the blackface, and he's like, no, I don't do that. And we all, I mean tons of us went onto Twitter and to Insta and everywhere, and even on YouTube. We did a whole show on it saying, you are so wrong. This is who he was. This is who this man, and still nothing happened. So it's Bernie Bros coming after them. Seriously, to me, honestly, it's like the Korean kids from BTS coming after somebody to give them shit about something that they said on Twitter or on Instagram. Everybody's into it for like a hot minute, and then it goes away. And it just shows you the irrelevancy of a Stern right now. He can say these things because people want to repeat them. But on the flip side of the coin, he says these things, but nobody in the real sphere of the world, other than the media, cares. Nobody cares.
Thanks
That's
for the
the problem.
$4.99. I Am Sila as well. Thank you,
Yes,
dear.
thank you so much. So $4.99. How is it not like $5.01? How does it actually become $4.99?
I think it gives options.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Gives examples of
I
what
didn't
you
know that.
can.
Yeah, I had no idea. David says the problem with most of these media people calling out Howard is that they miss the point of why he's awful overall. They do because they don't know. And the reality is that most of them don't listen to the show, so they don't know. The fact that Tucker still looks at him as somebody, and I will repeat it because I think it was Katie Dean yesterday who said it, that when Howard dies, the only thing that they will talk about in his death is his career. and nothing about him as a person and what he's done and, you know, who he's helped and what a beneficent, magnificent human being he was. None of this will be talked about. It'll just
Maybe
be about
just a bit about the saving cats with Beth. That'd probably be it.
maybe, if that.
Because there isn't really anything else. He hasn't spearheaded any charity.
No, he has not. Yeah, Azor says if 79 responds with insults, he can't say he's evolved anymore. Fox News knows this. He painted himself into a corner with the evolved crap. Well,
No,
it's
but
also
Wendy
that he
Williams,
doesn't want,
you know.
yeah, he doesn't want them to gain any publicity off of his back. Period. Like, he doesn't want anybody to get any kind of how many times in the past, like, years, 2 years, 3 years, you know, have people spoken about him, ripped him a new asshole, you know, speak totally derogatory about, like, the things that he's said and that he's done, and he never, ever, ever mentions it because he thinks that this is his way of taking the high road. That he's better than this. He is bigger than this. He's better than this.
Exactly.
But it was a very lovely note.
And he
It's
has
that
enough
kind of
sycophants
thing.
around
A
him.
beautiful note.
A beautiful
you know?
note.
It's
Yeah,
to get
and
away.
he has enough
yeah.
sycophants around him to not to shield him from anything bad.
Okay, so I'll put this question to everyone and in the chat. And is there a chance he can go down the Wendy Williams rant? Because that was something you would never have expected him to do. Like, this is a perfect example where he can blow his stack, and all of his lefty friends are gonna say, "Perfect." He can go berserk again.
What do you mean, babe?
This is an example of where he can go berserk. He can yell and scream and curse.
And do like a Wendy Williams type of
all
rant.
the people of the rant will, not about Wendy. Like she's a lefty, so it wasn't about her being a lefty or anything. It was he can do a full virus rant, screaming about what Tucker and playing it back, and he knows that everyone on the left is gonna love him for it. All of his friends. This is what he's been waiting for.
Yeah, but I spoke to a couple of people from the Stern Show today. I wanted to get their take on Tucker and what the feeling was about this rant.
And you got to tell
like
us
that.
who they were. We need to know who they were.
Yeah, you know that's not going to happen. And
I know you're not going to tell them.
And they basically said that that he has now that he has the ire of Fox News, it's pretty much it's no holds barred. And they will happily trounce him. I mean, yeah, is it going to be like everybody, boycotting Nike and shit like that? No, of course not, because not everybody has Sirius and nobody cares. And the reality is none of us know what kind of numbers he has at Sirius. As a matter of fact, I was told today that those numbers are kept in such secret and hidden so well that even when they bring you in and tell a show that that they're fired because their numbers are just not there, the person will basically say, well, what are my numbers? Let me know what's going on, so maybe it's something I can fix. And it's like, no, we'd rather not tell you. So the metrics that they use, interestingly enough, are engagements. They use engagements with Twitter, with Instagram, with all of social media, with YouTube. Most of these people that are on Sirius now have YouTube channels as well, or podcasts and stuff like that. And so they gauge everything on the metrics, and they know exactly who's listening at what hour, how many people are streaming it down to their radios, in their cars, in their homes, in their cell phones. But because they're not dictated by Nielsen ratings or anything like that, they don't have to tell you shit. They can just do things very, very arbitrarily. Go, babe.
So there is a printout, not a printout, but a real number at Sirius. They can look at and see how many who is streaming Howard.
Right, but they won't tell you.
And they won't tell Howard though. Do you think? Or
I am told.
Do you reckon they made the whole lie up
I got a lot
so
of
he
tidbits
doesn't get
today,
down?
which I thought were really interesting.
I'm loving this. I've got to put some of this background music on while you go into these things. I'm loving it.
Okay, go for the music.
I am told.
Tell me when.
I've got it. It's on.
Okay.
Here we go.
So,
This sounds like a funeral. I was looking for something
really,
a
it's
little
not
more
a
upbeat.
dirge. This isn't
I know.
like that
I'm
kind
sorry.
of scoop.
Try this. Yeah. Go for it.
God, I hate this. Okay, I am told that the people at the top of Howard's hierarchy, meaning Marcy and other people that are in charge there, absolutely lie to him when they tell him that a show is either great or that something was good or that something was bad. They lie to him. They tell him that, based on everything in social media, that, this was great or this was fantastic. And most of the time it's not true. Basically, they tell him, that the interview was phenomenal. And some of those emails are absolute bullshit. Like he always talks about these, they always talk about these emails that they get in, and they're always skewed towards the thing that they want Howard to think was the best thing for the day prior. So even though something else could be great, like Mamet having a fight with Shuli, or, Ronnie talking about sex toys, none of that will be mentioned. All they'll mention is that the Billie Eilish interview was off the friggin' charts, even though they know that most of the interaction for Billie Eilish being on the show was from people that care about Billie Eilish, not people that care about Howard. So he is, in fact, the Emperor's new clothes. They definitely tell him that he's naked. That fucking Marfan-like Skeletor body is naked. But they are telling him that those clothing are beautiful. And there is nothing more special and more important than you. And that, my friends, is the reason why you never ever heard clips on the wrap-up show. So you always think to yourself, okay, here's this wrap-up show. And what they're supposed to be doing on the show is wrapping up what happened in today's show. Similar to what we do now. So we'll play a couple of clips. It's like, oh my God, this was so stupid. This was so funny. This was so ridiculous. They're not allowed to do that. And the reason they're not allowed to do it is because Howard has dictated, no. You just talk about me. This is what you do. No more Artie on the show or Robin popping in or Sal or Richard. All you need to do is talk about me, what I did on the show today, how great it was, and then let them wait for the replay to hear what I said. That's the way this show works. That's what a wrap-up show is supposed to be. It's about me and nobody else. That's why he got rid of back office show. That's why the wrap-up show has been marginalized to like some bullshit show where they talk about absolutely nothing. This is why I got a mouthful today. Seriously, I talked to like 3 people. I was on the phone for like 2 hours.
But that's since that was the wrap-up show really went shitty once Turk came. Is that the point?
Okay.
So she came up with that plan.
Right.
To kill him from.
Well, no, what the plan was is to say,
go for it.
no, Howard, this entire show is about you, period. It's not about any of your peripheral players. It's not about Fred. It's not about Robin. It's not about Artie. It's not about any of these people. It's about you. Okay? This is the thing we need to focus on. You. And so that's his guru. And that is his master, basically. And everybody I have ever spoken to from the Stern Show believes this to be true. And so when a Marcy comes in, who we all know is not salaried by Sirius. She is salaried by Howard. So this is Howard's person who is coming in to work with the Sirius executives as his own personal executive to tell them how the show needs to be run. And she runs it that way, and she runs it out of fear. That's why when you hear the gossip about the fact that Marcy screwed guy number 1 and then wound up marrying the guy from IT.
Yeah.
But it's okay because you know what? She doesn't work for Sirius. She's allowed to fuck around with whoever she wants. So that's why it wasn't a big deal, because she's not an employee of Sirius. She's an employee of 112 Productions. So she could do whatever the hell she wanted to. And so Marcy really has destroyed that show. And every single human being that you talk to believes this to be true. And yeah, like that. And I had a really good Tucker Carlson thing that I was told that I had to make sure I mentioned tonight, which is
please mention.
Okay, which is that Tucker Carlson, if he goes out, like if he goes to a bar, or if he's like in a different city and he goes to a bar, he always brings like another guy with him because he never wants to be accused of picking up a woman at a bar. Like he never wants anybody to think that he's that guy. So
Holy shit.
And this is true. So whenever he goes out, he brings somebody with him just to cover him so that people don't think that he's trying to pick up somebody. So yeah, I was told that today too.
What is he have a history of being a chauvinistic pig or something? Is that the reason?
I'm not even really sure. I honestly don't know enough about him, so I'm just speaking from memory right now. I mean, I literally have, as I'm talking to you, I literally have my usual like pages of notes as people are talking to me. I just like write shit down so that I can make sure to remember to tell you.
Tell us something about Monique we don't know.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That would be
Howard Stern. He's just a poor guy who wants to go outside and feel the breeze in his wig. That's all he wants to feel.
It's the greatest drop. I'm just beautiful.
Azor says Marcy will have to move on to another job after this con. Who would hire her then? They'll remember how far the show has fallen. She's only hurting herself. This is like a Ponzi scheme going to fall. No, here's the problem though. Marcy came to them with such a bill of goods because, you know, she comes from getting things done. She is cultish. They are like Scientologists now. So, you know, they all have drank the Kool-Aid. And they all, that's why nobody leaves there. That's why he doesn't fire anybody. They are all under this kind of dazed guru who just kind of controls everything that they do. And
yes.
She loves as hard as she works.
Yes. A couple of things that I heard today, which I thought were really interesting, because I was really just trying to do the Tucker thing, but people felt like talking about it. Are definitely going to be saved for Mr. Whiskers because, you know, Whiskers hasn't done anything in a while, so we're just going to kind of wait on him a little bit and let him give you some of the other stuff that I was told today. Yeah.
How about the other day with that, the last show I think you did with Xavier? He said I had to grab it and make it a drop because he said content, and he said it with so much phlegm and spit in his mouth, it came out. Just listen to this.
Content.
That's not edited. That's
content.
Listen to that.
That's why he probably has to go to the dentist. His teeth are probably falling out. He hasn't been in over 2 years. He's probably
content.
Dying.
It's absolutely revolting. I think that was
That's
during.
Disgusting.
Exactly, I know. It's just revolting.
That's absolutely revolting what you just played. You know what was actually even more revolting? Whoever posted today, I think it was Fudgicle, posted Mike Boschetti on with Artie, talking about how Artie thinks that he lost a little bit of his hearing because of all the drugs he's done. And so then you have Mike Boschetti, who can barely speak the Queen's English, and Artie, who's always been gravelly Artie, both talking to each other, and it sounded like two like 80-year-old men at the senior citizen center just getting ready to play some like mahjong or something. It was just incredibly horrible. It was
Yeah, it's Artie. I'm not coming in. I can't come in.
And that was before he left Stern. He said shit. Yeah, it's very hard to listen to Artie now.
It's hard. I feel bad for Artie.
Weird.
I'm not sure even what to say anymore.
Sounds like he's in his 70s or 80s.
I would
really.
love to have Artie back on the show. I would love
Oh my God.
to do that.
I've told you many times. If
All right,
that
you know
ever
what,
happens,
Nancy? I'm a little tired of what a absolute bitch you have been lately. Just because you don't know who Jimmy is doesn't mean the rest of us don't. How many people know you, Mo? Who gives a fuck if I know Jimmy or not? There's, you know what? There's a billion people on fucking YouTube, and guess what? I don't know, 9.9999995% of them. I don't know why you have to be snarky all the fucking time. I give you so much lenience both on here and also on our website, I might add. And so what? I don't know him. This isn't fucking personal. Who gives a shit who fucking Jimmy Dore is? Stop it.
What if God told you that you were special?
Oh, the language on you.
No, it just annoys me. It's like, so what? I don't know who he is. So fucking what? Who cares? Who cares who I know or don't know? You know what? I read a couple of articles.
Feel like I'm growing up vagina.
I read a couple of articles about him, and I told you who I know he is from what I read, and that's it. It doesn't matter what I think or know about a Jimmy Dore. I won't listen to him. I don't care. See, I don't understand why you people don't get that I don't really care about people in media. If I hear something and it's exciting and we want to talk about it, we talk about it. But the reality is, in the big scheme of the world, I don't live my life to listen to what other people say about politics, about religion, about entertainment, about anything. The only things I do or pay attention to are things that I put on the forum so that people have something interesting to pay attention to. I wouldn't even know about it if it wasn't for the fact that I have a forum and Xavier and I want to keep it, fresh and new and generally interesting. But the reality is, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about Jimmy Dore. I don't care about Tucker Carlson. I don't care about any of these people. Zero.
I don't care about you people.
Exactly.
Don't get your tits in an uproar.
You're killing me.
Hello, dum-dum.
Hello, dum-dum. I love that. Dropping loads on Tucker Carlson and Jimmy Dore. Monique acting like she's never heard of Jimmy Dore. Cute. For real? Like, seriously?
Oh, she.
We talked about it today, Bon Jovial and I, and I was
They're-
like, I'm going to have to do some research on him. I have no idea who he is. But why would I?
They're getting stuck into you.
I was like, you know what? Fuck all of you. Like,
Listen, I know, midlife crisis. I know, okay.
Christina goddamn Brown. Check.
Okay, all right, you people are crazy. Okay, see, Monique, Jimmy Dore ain't shit. I don't know. Don't care. You know what? There's plenty of comedians out there that I don't know, and I'm okay with that.
It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter. Why am I now talking to myself? I'm arguing if I can taste. I hate you, Bon Jovial.
I've got.
I hate
I'm
that
losing
you've
it too. But
done that to me.
So we're gonna have to wait until Monday. It's a long wait, and of course he's too scared to use Twitter because no one will tune into the show.
Wait, I gotta read this.
So he's
April the
not
Berserker. El Gato Malo. Actually, Mo, I hate to say it, but doesn't this entire podcast exist because you are continually snarky? Of course I'm snarky. The whole podcast is nothing but snark. But isn't that why we're here? Yeah, of course. Duh.
No,
Duh.
Monique was getting annoyed. That girl was being redundant. What she was saying was.
Well, yeah, so what? I don't know him. Who
was not
cares if I don't
relevant
know
to-
him?
It's typical sort of quasi trolls.
I can't know. No, she's not a troll. I know Nancy a very long time.
I said
mean, we go way back.
quasi trolls. So I
Yeah,
didn't
no.
say
We go way
full
back,
troll.
and I'm okay with her generally, but it's just kind of weird to me that she would, well, you don't know Jimmy Dore, but how many people know you? I don't care who doesn't know me.
Exactly.
Tell us something personal about Monique.
No, absolutely not. I have nothing to say. Oh, is Howard off next week? I don't think so. Is it a holiday?
See, I hope he is. If he's on holidays, it pisses me off because then he will not go there.
I
He will
don't
not
even.
bother.
I don't even know. I don't know him. I swear to God, I really don't. I've never heard of him. That Mike guy on Artie's podcast ruins the whole experience for me. Well, Ida, I've told you this story many, many times. The way I went to this party and I gave Mike Bichetti a glass of vodka on ice instead of water on ice, and he literally drank half of it, and he's like a recovering, and he drank like half of it before he.
No, Mom.
Yes, I did. I didn't know. I did 2 glasses.
How dare you!
I did like a vodka club with some lime.
Did he fall off the wagon and go and drink the whole
He's
bottle?
like, who gave this to me? Who gave this to me? I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. I didn't even know who he was. You know, Grillo's like, oh fuck, Monique, did you give him vodka? And I'm like, how could I know? How could I know? The bar's packed with people. Here's a, clear drink with a lime, and here's a clear drink with a lime. I didn't know.
I'm a little tired.
I didn't know.
I'm at Limelight, but I'm not at Limelight.
I didn't know.
I'm very outgoing. Very, very, ridiculously.
So you ended up just running away from him. You just said, I've got to go, bye, bye, bye. And that's
See,
it.
this is what I love about Clips. I'm ridiculously outgoing, but if given the choice between going out and staying home, I'm
You'd
staying
rather
home. And that's
stay
the
home.
end
You know
of
what?
that
If it's not
freaking
fun
clip.
for you anymore, then don't do it.
Bichetti is comedy cancer. He hates me, by the way. Just so you know. Ay, ay, ay. All right. Well, I guess that takes us through. Let's see if there's any other comments. Yeah, some people like Mike, but okay. Oh yeah, totally. You're totally right. Bichetti was deeply in love with Stacey, and Stacey's a great girl. She's really, really sweet. Did you know she actually ran for mayor of New York? A lot of people didn't know that, hence the reason she didn't win. But yeah, she was running. She started to get very political and decided she wanted to run for mayor of New York. Who knew? See, don't feel bad. I didn't know who Jimmy Dore was until today. Well, yeah, okay, so Charmander74, how many people know you? I mean, it's the same premise. It's like, okay.
Go Jimmy Dore!
He does look like fishy sausage, right? I think that's the funniest. You know where that comes from, fishy sausage's avatar, right? That was Sal Governelli's contribution to the Stern movie thing that he did. And he did all these shorts.
Tonight I'm having vodka. What is going on here?
Yes, this is how I feel all the time. I hate you, by the way, Bon Jovial. I hate everything about you. You guys should review the Stern Film Festival. You know what? We should. That's an excellent idea, David. Stern Film Festival. See, I write everything down and then I go to another page and I forget exactly what was on the page before. So that's how it works with me. And by the way, let's do a countdown for how long this PS5 will be sitting on the floor unboxed right next to my desk.
Oh my goodness. What you haven't, why wouldn't you rip that open like straight away?
This is now a party!
It's for the same reason that I have this transformer that actually transforms into like this big monster-sized guy. Still sitting here. I haven't even taken out of the plastic. Because, you just, oh, look, Tiger Lily, Bon, you are a treasure. Every show is better with you.
Thank you.
You see, everybody loves the Bon.
He's right about that.
You're just being mean now, silly Billy. Okay, so Monday there will be a show. So here's the thing.
There might be a big show Monday if he goes off, if Howard goes crazy.
Or may not. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
I'm
However,
thinking he might. I'm not going to say he will, but I think he's going to take advantage because none of his friends are going to get angry with him, and he'll get invited to more Seinfeld parties and friends.
He doesn't get invited to parties anymore because he doesn't go anywhere. He's a scary, scared, OCD-driven introvert. And he's not going anywhere. And, Beth has signed her deal with the devil and she's, stuck with him. And, that's her lot in life. Where's she going to go? She's probably got an ironclad.
Like veal.
Exactly.
So true. All right. Do you have anything to add to this conversation, Bon? Should we play what Jimmy Dore said just one more time? Because it was really so much fun.
Yes, let's do it again.
Okay, so we are going to end tonight's show. See, look, we did 116 without on a 5-minute clip. This is what happens. Like, even if Howard Stern's show is really, really crappy and I have 4 clips, somehow we managed to do an hour-and-a-half show, and I don't understand how that happens. I don't even understand. This is like the most talking I do on any given day. I talk to nobody for the rest of the day. I probably go through like a book. But if we talk about the best of Australia mate, it's Nick Cave. You've seen The Proposition?
Yes, I've seen Nick Cave live many times.
Who is he? What is he?
He's a singer. Oh, Monique. He wrote Red Right Hand.